in his book of Tale of Two Cities, saying that it's the best of times and the worst of times. The best of times for people and organizations who will take this advantage of change and they make a big gain. It's the worst of time for people and organizations who are not able to make that happen. And I've seen time and again for the last 3 years since the recession started, many people say that the recession is a bad thing, but I know of companies and individuals who have done wonderful things during this period. I know my own business school at Calcutta, IIA, we have made tons of money in the last 3 years, but by way of strategic consulting and by way of course, executive education. I'm not including what is happening to our MBA program. It all depends on how you carry yourself during a difficult time, because we as a strategic professionals, we always say, every time there's a difficult period is a time for winning. Because when everything is perfect, everything is going gung-ho, Tom, Dick and Harry will do well, it's not good for a good news for the best performer. The best performer waits for the worst time to happen, because at that time you get to know who is a boy and who is an adult. Ladies and gentlemen, you have entered a wonderful time. My luck is very bad. At 62, I'm in a sunset zone. I'm in the twilight of my career and not much of opportunity left. I'm very sad that I won't be having not many years left to enjoy this wonderful moment of extreme competition, and you have to really think about winning. Those who are really average, they'll be in difficult trouble during this period. But those who are really good, for the first time they will see the market is trying to tip them and do wonderful things. Ladies and gentlemen, the whole lecture today will be moving around this word called success during difficult times. And what does all this mean for an HR professional? The word success itself is a big thing. Is it somebody should say that you should become a managing director or a head of HR? Somebody was telling, I think Vinit was talking about. And nobody needs to decide whether you want to be HR head or a managing director or a businessman. It's your choice. When you talk about success, it's your decision against what you are achieving. Never decide what others are saying. If people start delivering your life or people start saying what you are going to do, you are gone. So the first learning is that success is something that you define for yourself. Do not even listen to anybody. You can take anybody's help, but do exactly what you feel you are worthy of it. Please remember, you are accountable to only two people who brought you to the world, your parents. I lost my mother only a month ago. And I know what is that she gave me. My entire journey started from her. I started breathing from her. And I know only two people you are accountable to. And make sure that you make them proud that you are worthy of it. So now you have decided what you want to be. It's your call, not anybody's call. Please remember, the first principle in success, you have to start without success. Because success will come over a period of time. It will not come on the day one. Vinit was talking something here that 8 years, 10 years, he had to slog. He did not become successful on day one. Ladies and gentlemen, please remember, success is a destination, it's not a destination. It's a journey, and most of the time, I'm sure 100% of the time, the first day you start your life career, you have no success with it. Same thing happened with me when I passed out from IIM Ahmedabad. I was a PhD student, the first doctoral student of C.K. Prahlad. Of course, that time he was only Professor Prahlad, and then he went back to Michigan and then became a big man. But I recall what he finally became. He even started as a very ordinary professor at IIM Ahmedabad with his first doctoral student, yours truly, standing in front of you. The learning that I got from him is that you have to have an ambition, obviously, but you also have to think of, is your ambition or not somebody else's? You be comfortable on what you're trying to be, and then consider that goal as something you are moving, but the entire process that you are going through is a process. It's a destination. It's not a destination, but a journey, and that goal will get continuously redefined. You might think something for the first 2 years, and after that, maybe something else. It's a journey, and that don't forget. Another thing, though, please don't forget that on the day one, you have to start without success. The question is, then what is success? And I've got a simple formula, I found it. Success is equal to your strategy multiplied by conviction. Your strategy, assuming that you set a goal for yourself, that of course goes without saying. You've got an ambition and a goal. And that goal, having said that, you need only two things, the strategy and the commitment to make it happen. Many people have a clear goal, many people have a right strategy, still they don't make it. I've seen many of our MBA students don't make it to the top. Only 20% make it to the top. The goal is clear. Maybe the strategy is clear, but what is not there is conviction. The interesting point is, why did I say success equal to strategy multiplied by conviction or commitment and not plus? The answer is, absence of any one will not make you successful. You decide your goal. That's no problem. And given that goal and ambition, you've got to have a situation, you have a clear strategy worked out, and I'll talk about that strategy now, and a commitment. I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, most people fail not because they did not have a goal. Most people fail not because they don't have a strategy. The bigger thing is, too many of us are very scared, and our fear is more than our faith. When your fear is bigger than faith, don't expect yourself to be successful. I repeat, if your fear is more than faith, you'll never be able to be successful, because success is all about a journey into a future that has not yet happened. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're scared about things that are going to happen, you are not going to make it. Please remember, our fear is right inside. Our impossibility thinking manifests itself into something. The moment you believe something is not going to happen, it's not going to happen. Somebody asked me, where do you put your more emphasis? The ambition goal, or is it the strategy, or is only the commitment? Of course, all three are required. But you still say, can you rank it? I say, ladies and gentlemen, is your commitment to make it happen. The commitment is 80%. The remaining 2 about your goal and strategy will come through. But I must still tell you about that ambition. You've got to have some ambition. You're almost trying to touch the sky. You've almost touched the sky. You keep pushing yourself just to get to know how good you are. If you start working with soft goals, you end up softly. Ladies and gentlemen, you must keep challenging yourself. Must raise the bar, because only then you get to know how good you are. Your degrees in master's level, MBA level, what your bosses say, all secondary. You must get to know yourself, how good you are, and that's the best way to do it is, my father used to say, challenge the person in the mirror. I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, last 34 years I'm running, and there's a man is running in front of me, and he's not stopping. I'm chasing him. Last 34 years I'm chasing. I'm tired, I'm old, but the man is still ahead of me. And I don't think till the time my last day will come, I'll ever be able to cross it. But that's where the challenge is. That's where your best actually comes in. So bigger question now, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for that. That you keep stretching yourself, keep challenging yourself, and remember that 2%. I told you, I started my journey. First breathing was from my mother, and she passed away last month. It's as if the world has gone away, but I recall that day. My mother said that don't burn my body. Just imagine 86 years old lady. She told us a year ago, don't burn my body. And it is something that you have heard about it, but never faced myself. The next day was a body burning. And the next day I had a class at IIM Calcutta. 230 executives came from all over India. At 2 o'clock is the class. We had to rush the body to the hospital, to hand over the body to the government hospital and take the thing. And they were delaying. I said, Professor, the Department of Anatomy, please take the body complete. Well, why are you hurrying? I said, I've got a class to take. Well, your mother passed away yesterday. Your body is here and you have not taken over in the same class. Yes, the 86 years old lady, if she can give her body after her death for academic research, why can't a 62-year student can't take the class at Indian Institute of Management, Calcutta? Ladies and gentlemen, the spirit comes from that. That's what I told you. You're accountable for 2 people. I think I've become more focused now last 1 month. I've become more challenging. I've become more aggressive. And I would see. So goal is important. But I'll come back to my point again. If there's a ranking between the goal and the strategy and your commitment, probably your commitment that will put forth. That brings me to the next question. Having said that success is equal to Strategy multiplied by conviction, with conviction is going to be your most important thing. Having said that success is a journey, having said that success is something against a goal that you set for yourself and not for anybody else, let's talk about, for a moment, about HR professional. I'm going to give an outside perspective. I may be wrong, but ladies and gentlemen, if I'm wrong, please forgive me because I don't belong to the HR function. I've got 4 feedbacks to give you. The feedback is HR guys are not getting the due respect in many companies. The bad news is that, the first bad news is that companies that don't pay attention to the people process, which are administered by the HR function people, those companies will never do well in life. They have done it probably up to 2005, 2006. Give it another 10 years' time. The companies that don't upgrade, modernize their people process, which are driven by forward-looking HR people, they will never remain competitive. I've done a research myself. I've connected HR professionals' capabilities and the quality of people process as the sole driver of company valuation. I repeat, the HR processes and the people driving the HR function, these two together will be the sole driver of company's valuation in the next 5 to 10 years' time. Ladies and gentlemen, here lies the opportunity. There's a good news that the companies are now beginning to feel that HR should be done in a much better way. The bad news is the HR professionals are not sufficiently realizing what they need to do in order to dominate. I'm not saying you have to become a managing director. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm never saying that. I'm not saying you have to become HR professional, but just imagine you're an assistant manager HR. You are handling compensation, you are handling training and development. Imagine you are a small consulting company within a company. Can't you be strategic? Can't you do something so special that nobody has seen in the world before? Can't you say that in this company nobody knows better than me in HR and strategic HRM? I need that pride. I need that pride. There may be somebody called VP HR. There may be somebody called managing director, and they're very good. But at my job, I am the best. Ladies and gentlemen, the time has come. Apply that formula of success that in my organization, nobody will know if I do a compensation job, if I do a training and development job, nobody will know more than me. You know what sweeper once told me, I learned it from him. I found that a toilet he cleans is the best among all the sweepers. All the toilets are dirty. They get the same salary. They get everything. I checked with him, I probed him. He made one statement finally. He said, sir, when it comes to toilet cleaning, I want to be better than the managing director of the company. Wow. I want to be better than managing director of the company. Awesome. A sweeper is teaching me.
Awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen, time has come for you to do that very carefully. An HR professional, 4 things you have to take care of. The one feedback is coming to me. Please forgive me if I'm wrong. The first feedback is coming to me that HR people, they are too much bogged down into what you call technical HRM. Technical HRM. That those procedures, operating form, somebody has to do it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not saying nobody has to do it, but the question is, are you the person, a qualified business graduate, such a sharp individual, young, 25, 26 years old, should you be doing beyond your point technical HRM job? And I'm saying you'll be soon in trouble if you have an ambition. I'm finding increasingly HR function is going for a 3-way split. The first part, people are staying in the technical HRM function. They will not become more than DGM. They will stay there forever. Soon, those jobs will be outsourced or they stay there as ever. The second group of HR people are now leaving the companies and they're starting their own enterprises like a typical consultant or join a specialist consulting firm like Mercer or Hewitt Consultant. They go and they're specialists. The third group of HR people are going to the managing director and saying that I want to run line function. I want to be head of production. I want to become head of marketing because I understand the biggest resource of a company, the people. In other words, those who are doing technical HRM functions, they'll be doomed if they don't change over to either a specialist function or a line function, or they start contributing what I call strategic HRM. And that's what I'm going to come to. So the first point I'm trying to say is that most of the people are spending too much time on technical HRM, many of which can be automated, many of which can be outsourced, and you are unnecessarily wasting your time. The second feedback is coming into you that HR professionals, in spite of the fact many of them are business graduates, are not talking the business language. I've sat through a company's meeting. The chartered accountant and MBA finance, a very smart guy. They use some technical jargon like ROC, IRR, and discounted cash flow, and a PBIT to 1 minus T, delta capex, all those technical terms. Marketing guys talks about channel management, partners, the brand management. They dominate the briefings, and HR guys sitting quietly. I think sometimes you talk the language of business before people understand the language of people. And I would suggest that increasingly I'm finding, in spite of the fact HR professionals are as qualified as any other marketing and finance MBAs, those two characters that dominate the meeting because HR guys are somehow scared that I don't understand business. The problem is not outside. The HR professionals themselves are to blame. They know everything and yet they don't open up. So my second feedback to you is that one is the technical HR in focus. The second feedback is kindly consider and remember that it's time has come for you to talk about the business strategy, the way the business language is talked about. The third feedback and the fourth feedback are interlinked, and it says that HR people, they do not themselves know what could be the value propositions of an HR function. What HR guys can actually do to business to create wealth, to increase their competitive advantage. We are now linking the HR's contribution to business strategy and greater competitiveness. There are companies today, we are now talking about, we are equity firms, are talking, let us discuss the intangibles, HR intangibles. The intangibles are something that cannot be copied by your competitor. While people can copy your product, people can copy your service process, people cannot copy your culture. People cannot copy the way you promote people. The people cannot copy the way you recruit people. And HR people are not talking sufficiently about what are the areas of HR value proposition. Those of you who have read the book or David Ulrich, over there they talked about 14 areas of HR value proposition. But most HR people, you talk to them, they are not able to articulate what exactly is their contribution. They believe that they can contribute. They are not talking. And I strongly suggest that a time has come. You better get to know which are the areas where HR can actually contribute. We call them strategic HR, where HR will add value to leading to enhanced competitiveness of the business. And finally, the time has come for HR guys to understand they have to make available performance metrics by which HR function can be evaluated by the business people. Recently I met a multinational, very number 1, number 2 company in the country, a leading multinational, and one of the HR professionals said, Professor Das, can you help us develop a performance metrics by which those business head, and he's a graduate from your own school at Calcutta, he at least understand how I'm contributing to the value of the business. I said, how the finance guy do it? How the marketing guy? So they are using some formulas, some calculation. I said, can't you do that? I mean, it is said that anything can be quantified. The Einstein said, when I was a student of nuclear physics, the Einstein said that even a beautiful painting can be quantified because it's nothing but a set of differential equation. If that be so, a painting can be converted into a differential equation. Why can't HR be converted into a performance metrics that can be converted to a cash flow? And who will do that? Do you think your business manager will do it? Then he will do it the way he wants. And this lady is saying, can you help us in developing a performance metrics? I can tell you, there is a saying in management, and I follow that principle. Anything that you can't quantify, you cannot measure. What you can't measure, you can't control. What you can't control, you can't manage. And what you can't manage, don't do it. Anything that you can't quantify, you can't measure. What you can't measure, you can't control. What you can't control, you can't manage. What you can't manage, don't do it. Ladies and gentlemen, HR function is not going to office and writing some reports and doing some interviews and filling some forms. They are called technical HR that anybody, Tom, Dick and Harry can do it. We don't need an MBA to do that. You need a very good training and a good general education, and a good student will do that. HR function will be talking in terms of value proposition, and they have to be dealing from what you call technical HRM, which Tom, Dick and Harry can do. And the other thing is that you must subject yourself to quantitative evaluation. The HR scorecard has become an important issue post-95 after balanced scorecard came from Harvard Business School. And I'll tell you that a time has come, if you want to make your job valuable, not only you should know what are your value propositions, so when a company's business is concerned, not in general terms, but compared to the business you are doing, and how are you going to measure yourself to make them happen. These four things are my outside-in perspective. I can be wrong. I'm sure the great IT companies like Infosys, Wipro, and Capgemini are already talking about HR value proposition, because I found IT companies are slightly ahead of others in terms of adopting the best practices. But I think the time has come, generally speaking, take care of this whole outside-in perspective. Am I committing too much of my time and attention on doing things which is 18th century and can be done by a computer? Don't do that. Number two, am I spending too much time on HR areas and not spending adequate time in developing a business language or a common business language by which I can talk with my body language, with my head up, with my line function managers in production or finance or marketing, and of course the business or profit center area. Thirdly, do I know exactly, given my business condition, my competitive scenario, what are the value proposition that I can focus on, where I can add value at the end of the day in the business? And finally, how do I evaluate myself? My personal feedback in the strategy consulting that I do with almost 50 companies in the country, I tend to realize the HR guys are perfect people, beautiful people. They don't fight with people. They're great gentlemen or ladies. But one thing I must tell you, I keep telling them, why don't you really do something about these four areas so that you start being counted? Don't take me wrong, please. I'm not saying anything wrong about you. All I'm saying, I do not like anybody to be working on you. I do not like those finance guys using those ROC and IRR and NPV and cash flows and then become your boss one day. I just don't like that. I don't like that without a fight somebody comes and sits on you. And the sad will be, because you are very good. You're not using the business language. So that's one thing. The other thing is that be clear about your contribution and be clear about how you are going to measure yourself. Looking at this, being a professor myself at a business school at IIM Calcutta, and Rajesh has just introduced me, I'm also building an academy which is the first of its kind in India. It's India's first live digital academy. India's first live digital academy. The word live digital has to be explained. You can see the faculty live, you can hear the faculty live, you can see the PowerPoint, and you can ask questions. That's live. So it is better than this lecture. Suppose some of you is not here in the room today, you can't get this lecture back. Now this digital academy is working for 3 years, and my one-line vision is to make people strategic. And obviously, among all the functional areas, the area I'm personally focusing are the HR people. Because I'm convinced as a strategy professional that companies don't have strategy, managers have. Many of you do not really appreciate it. I repeat the word. Companies don't have strategy, the managers have. For example, this particular room can do many things. We can bring Raki Sawant here, we have created one kind of value. You have brought me here, I do another kind of value. In other words, room does not do anything. The decision that you take to use this room in a particular way, that creates value. And hence I came up with this statement, companies don't have value. So Hindustan Lever strategy is not Hindustan Lever strategy. Hindustan Lever strategy, the strategy of Hindustan Lever management team to take the company forward in a particular way. If that be so, managing strategy is nothing but managing people, particularly the management staff. And it is in this regard, my point of view is that if the HR function is not modernized, is not upgraded, is not strategic, company cannot do well over the long run. I repeat, if HR strategy, HR processes are not upgraded, modernized, and everything done at least 5 years ahead of competitive changes, you are in trouble. In other words, that's a golden opportunity in front of you. Your job will be to place the right person for the right job, which means right skill, right attitude, right motivation, right skills to lead the people. All these who will do. Lovely people processes. Who will run the people process? Who will design it? The HR people. And why HR people will do it? Because they are only people who understand human psychology, they understand human resource management. Now, if these HR people concentrate only on technical HR, tell me who is to be blamed if you are not respected. There is a saying, when the gold rusts, what the iron will do. The gold is not supposed to rust. If the gold itself is rusting, Do you expect the iron to do anything? Ladies and gentlemen, my strong recommendation to you, spend time on understanding how much time you're spending on technical HR and why can't it be outsourced or done by a computer, how much time you're spending to improve the business language so that you can talk with full conviction with your counterparts in business side. If you're a business HR, can you talk to them? Thirdly, do you understand your value proposition that can enhance competitive valuation of the company? And finally, do you know how to evaluate yourself? To make this process, come back to my strategy academy, we decided to focus on HR people. And one of this area, I found it the big area. We are running a program jointly with NTHR, the Big HR Global People, to run a postgraduate certificate in strategic human resource management. There are 2 modules to it. Exactly what I say here, I'm doing there. I designed a program myself where the first part is on business language, no HR, just a basic HR, but basically business HR to make sure that you understand the discounted cash flow, you understand the market segmentation, and you can talk with a full body language that you know as much as the business side. The second part is strategic HRM topic. The weightage is 50-50, but we ensure that at the end when you come out, you know those 3 questions. You can talk the language of business, you can talk the language of HR, you know where HR has to be strategic to create value for the business, and most importantly, you can present to the business head, yes sir, evaluate my contribution, here are the scorecard, this is how I ranked, and this is how I'm adding value. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we have to do today. To facilitate this process, with the oldest man in the strategy in the country, nobody has done a PhD before me in strategy area, in IIM. That many people came from abroad. I'm only going by the IIM system from IIM Ahmedabad where I came from. I'm saying that please consider how do I make myself strategic in HR function so that 12 months from now, nobody can say that you don't speak the business language. Nobody can say that you don't understand what's your contribution to the business side to actually establish that you are creating value for the business. And finally, nobody can say that these characters don't even know how to evaluate their performance and hence they're useless. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for you to do that. The question is, when should you do it? Today, tomorrow, after 5 years? My point of view is simple. There's a proverb. The proverb says, the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The next best time is today. Ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to become the next group of strategic HRM professionals. This group of people who are sitting in this room, let them be the first group of people who will say with their head high, I understand business, I understand strategy, and I can design my strategic HRM system in a way that the company's competitive advantage is going to increase enormously over its competitor, and I'll be able to establish that if you're paying me 500,000 or 1 million salary a year is worth paying. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what you have to do. At what pace you should do it? One question is you should do it today rather than waiting for another 5 years. And the other thing, ladies and gentlemen, I tell you, there's a saying that when the time for change comes, nobody can stop it. When the time for change comes, nobody can stop it. Think about it, the time for change has come. The other thing is that the rate of change outside the organization is faster than the rate of change inside the organization. You are dead. The rate of change outside the organization is more than the rate of change inside the organization. You are dead. With that few words, ladies and gentlemen, my time is over. It's just 4:05. I mentioned to you, in my life, I never exceeded my talk time. It's 4:05. It's time for you to ask me a question. Otherwise, I'm through with it. I'm sure many of the points I have not covered, but whatever little I can do, I told the main thing. It's now over to you. Thank you very much.